Good morning and welcome to the Tech Lab Brief, your daily heartbeat of technology and reminder that the rumors of the AI apocalypse have been greatly exaggerated. We are your hosts,
I'm Ethan.
and I'm BK.
Let's jump right into it. So, OpenAI debuts $230 Codex Micro mechanical keypad as its first hardware release. For months, the tech world anticipated that OpenAI's first physical device would be a highly rumored screenless consumer companion built with a legendary designer Jony Ive. Instead, the company quietly launched a niche, highly premium mechanical macro pad designed specifically for developers managing parallel AI software agents.
OpenAI goes hardware.
It's pretty interesting considering Apple's lawsuit against them.
Hmm. Didn't we talk about that earlier?
Yeah, they approached 400 hardware employees.
So we did name drop here, and when we talked, actually, this was during the PM brief, the PM brief on our first day when I was soloing, talking about. I did the full spiel on the Apple suitcase,
Suitcase.
which unfortunately there's no VOD. But you mentioned Johnny Ives.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that person.
There's a whole background on the situation. He's also cited in the lawsuit, which is crazy to think that Apple's suing Johnny Ives. I would have never thought that would have possibly been a thing growing up, but here we are, and he's known as like a design legend in this space, right? And he left Apple a few years ago. He's been at Apple forever. He left a few years ago. The lawsuit was a few days ago. And yeah, I mean, OpenAI. So he started a company called IO Products, I believe it was called, and then OpenAI acquired that hardware company, and I don't know if IO Products did anything, but there's this concept of an acqui-hire. It's basically putting together the words like acquisition,
Yeah.
hiring.
Okay.
So Johnny Ives being Johnny Ives, they wanted his design input, and here we are now with the louder keyboard. And how much Johnny Ives has to do with this could be somewhat speculative. This has all just come out recently.
Yeah.
Any more information on this keyboard? This is pretty big news, yeah?
Yeah, so it has color-coded LED agent keys that they call it, where yeah, they have different buttons for different agent modes like thinking or require user approval. And yeah, there's a pretty steep price tag. I don't know if you caught it. It was a $230 for basically just another macro keyboard, which there are already many options available.
Isn't that like a thing DJs do? Like turns it little.
Yeah, there's like different buttons on the keyboard.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So we've covered quite a few pieces of news in this first week of the Tech Lab Brief. And there has been, actually just yesterday, we talked about there's been an ongoing narrative of like the rising price of hardware, right? We saw tech stock go up, your Hynix and your Micron and well, our what do we call it? Our prodigal child, NVIDIA. And also how this is having downstream impacts on consumer products. Apple has recently announced, hey guys, we can't hold the prices anymore. We got to raise them. All this leading to say, well, actually, yesterday we said the market wants what it wants. So I'm going to ask the market, would you pay $230 for an AI keyboard? And on that note, the brutal correction. Slumping tech stocks chill Wall Street despite solid earnings. For months, semiconductor giants enjoyed an aggressive AI-fueled bull market. A major structural realignment is taking place in the mid-2026 as Wall Street pivots from buying into speculative AI narratives to demanding strict proof of sustainable enterprise margins.
Oh,
Correction time. Well,
yeah.
who knows? There's temporary corrections. I think there have been plenty of temporary corrections in the market as of late. Is it a what's the word? A flippening, I think they call it. So it's or a market reversal, I think is just the technical term. Thoughts?
It's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of speculation around AI and if it's actually going to be worth all this investments. And I don't know. I'm not too knowledgeable on it.
So I want to ask you again, Market. Would you pay $230 for an AI keyboard? But I guess, going back to
Yeah.
to what the teleprompter said, uh, Wall Street pivots from buying into speculative AI narratives to demand strict proof, I need proof of sustainable enterprise margins. So I want to ask you, enterprise market, would you pay $230 for your employees to have an AI keyboard? And on that note,
The ruthless compression. So, aggressive price war erupts following back-to-back model drops. The era of commanding sky-high premiums for basic LLM queries is coming to an end. Tech companies are shifting away from competing purely on benchmark scores toward an environment of brutal cost optimization and operational affordability. So, we had Grok 4.5 and GPT 5.6 come out from Grok and OpenAI, respectively, within a 24-hour time span. And as we've seen through these token prices per million tokens, GPT 5.6, Luna Pro, and 4.5 are both priced at $6 per million tokens.
it's a decent price, honestly.
Yeah, which is it's a considerable drop from, if we look at the previous frontier model from GPT, or I guess Luna Pro isn't technically frontier, but it is their latest release. It's like the bottom, the cheapest version of their frontier.
Yeah, it's kind of like their pros or nanos.
Yeah.
Not the pros, sorry, not pros. The mini or nano
Yeah.
models that they have.
But for looking at 5.5, that was priced at $30 per million tokens. And I mean, $6 compared to 30 is a 5x,
Yeah,
considerable drop.
5x. It's funny, we're at this point where we're really measuring intelligence on a whole nother echelon,
Yeah.
right? All right. For the camera, Ethan, what's your IQ?
Honestly, don't know. I haven't taken it since kindergarten. But back then it was a 130 flat, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, 130. So, yeah, but now we're looking for ways to measure artificial intelligence. And there's these things called benchmarks that nobody has. There is an interesting one called Humanity's Last Exam. Remember us talking about that one too?
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. You can actually go in and try some of the questions for yourself, but they are
Interesting.
extremely challenging.
Oh yeah, you tried some of the questions?
Well, I mean, the first one is like a relatively hard chess puzzle, and then another one is like talking into like,
Chess.
yeah,
Another one was what?
it was some tough science, like either like astrophysics or some like quantum physics, something like that.
Right.
And yeah,
Yeah. So what do we use these AIs for? What we're at the point where we have to be more intentional about what AI do I use to solve which problem,
yeah,
right? I mean, as a tech company developing software, we're always at a point of just like, sometimes the coding task is very easy. Just make this button go here, or like, change this variable to just that number.
mhm.
Although actually moving the button from here can actually be pretty
Yeah.
tough for
That's a completely different issue. But
but also to do like basic maintenance things. Like, there's no reason to be a gatekeeper on this one, right? We have a cursor command to write commits for us, or not cursor, but an AI agentic command to write a commit for us. And how much brain power, how much processing power does that really need? Intelligence power, I guess. So
yeah, that's all these enterprise experts are warning that it's not worth it to use all these $30 per million token output token frontier models on these basic tasks. But
well, I'm glad that we've taken a big step from what was it like? If my 500K engineer isn't burning 500 million tokens in a month, then what am I paying you for? But that was no further comment. But on the news of models and are we using the right model for the right thing? The decentralized defiance Mira Murati's Thinking Machines Lab releases open weight Inkling model. That's off to you. As premier AI laboratories in the United States increasingly restrict their largest systems behind expensive enterprise cloud APIs, a major philosophical rift is growing. A newly emerged American startup is directly defying the closed-door trend by offering its flagship tech for free public download to challenge the dominant closed-source ecosystem. Murati.
Yeah. I was thinking, I think we had a previous headline about how all these cheaper Chinese models that are like people are trying to shift over to them because of their cheap nature, as compared to all the US closed frontier models. And hopefully this is a step for the US to sort of move off of the Chinese ecosystem, where I don't know how the political scene is, but there's some competition there. And
Yeah, there's a lot of connected threads here. We'll see what the pricing looks like. Jaden, you see how much? Well, it's open source, right?
Mm.
Open weight,
open weight.
right? It's open weight. So we'll see what cost looks like to run this bad boy. 975B. I think that actually takes the record for the largest open weight model parameter count. Yeah,
Wow.
I don't think there's an existing model out. No.
No, King K3 with
How much?
2.8 trillion parameters.
Really? Okay.
Fact check.
Hey, no, I'm with it. All right, collective intelligence, baby. So okay, so you mentioned the Chinese AIs. I don't know, how do we feel? Anyway, so we mentioned the Chinese AIs, right? The Chinese AIs company. We have like Kimi. Yeah, Kimi has the 2.5T, and now maybe Jaden, you can also fact check me here, but like in terms of American made, we were talking about this earlier, right? American made open weight models. I think Inkling's gonna take the cake. And Jaden nodded his head. He says, yes, it's a fact. There's cost to this too, like, and it ties together with the whole everything we've talked about, the rising cost of the chips, which we mentioned on earlier segments. The demand for data centers and running in-house hardware is skyrocketing because there's somewhere between the cost and maybe a little bit of the trust with the frontier model companies and their models and their AI systems. Because, I mean, who wants to just upload all their company data to
Other companies.
other companies?
Yeah.
And in another step, that used to be the whole meta. No pun intended.
Meta.
Cloud was anyone talked about, right? So we spent 15 years of the tech, it's like 20, 25 years of the tech industry moving to the cloud. And now here we are, like economy's inflated. It seems like almost 5x at this point, trying to move back home.
Physical hardware.
And that brings our news segment to an end. And now it's time for our knowledge segment. Today's knowledge segment is brought to you by BK Freckles, ushering in the era of collective intelligence, bringing an end to the gatekeeping of knowledge. Join us today. Become a member. Shake the air. So, you think of something?
Thinking about, we did neural networks last time. I was thinking we can dive a bit deeper into how neural networks work.
Sure.
We were talking about open weight versus open source. To my knowledge, an open source model just shares all of its source code and how the training code, I think you called it, which is
Data.
Training data.
Which is also code.
Yeah.
Code can be data or programs.
Yeah. So that open source models, they just share everything outright, but open weight models, they only share their sharing weights?
Open source model
Yeah.
share their weights.
Got a thumbs up from Jaden. And if you could expand a bit more on that, what exactly does it mean to share its weights?
So I was looking, and found our previous rechat on Introduction to Neural Networks. And then, pardon the loud music, we still need to fix that. I'm going to call it a bug because I don't want to blast your ears every single time we open rechat. We click the Gemini button and we can continue this chat. Thank you, Google. Actually, I think every AI. So then we can ask the follow-up question from last time we did our rechat, and last knowledge segment, and ask how do the prep
Weights? Yeah. So I'm more interested in what does it mean for an AI model to be open weights? Expand more on what exactly a weight is and how a model can be open weight.
All right. So this is just too fast, right? I can't read all this all at once. So oh wow, there's a lot of information.
You see all this output and it's just overwhelming.
Overwhelming. So why don't we just share this conversation? We'll go into the rechat, into this videos, share, public, part 2. And no, I actually kind of like UI when we play it. When I look at the log, it's like, oh, that's nice. Yeah, Apple Sue's open in that.
They did not put the part 2.
Hmm?
I thought you named it part 2.
It's interesting, right? Because, well, it has it here, but it's not there. You want to jot that down as a bug? Or you have access to the code, right?
The GitHub.
Go to the GitHubs. So I think we're still going to end up rendering the previous. So we'll skip that.
Yeah.
And then actually we ask more questions. How close? And then, okay, we start with
Yep.
what does it mean for AI models? Utopia weight. When you hear that an AI model is open weight, I mean the creator has released the actual finished brain of the AI to the public. Anyone can download it, run it on their own computer, and modify it. Okay? So it looks like we're going to first look at what a weight is.
Yep.
You can say so too.
Yeah, so if an artificial neural network is a giant map of highways, the weights are the speed limits. Mathematically, weights are just a decimal number, 0.87 or negative 0.12. And there are billions or trillions of these numbers. They act almost as volume knobs or importance sliders.
Importance slider.
Yeah.
I like that.
Controls how much signal passes through from one neuron to the next. So a neural network is consisted of a bunch of neurons.
Speed limits. Speed limits on those five.
If there's one signal that's more important than others, then it would have a higher weight, right?
There's one signal that's more important than others.
Like from one neuron to another.
Right. Like, so I live here. I need to go here for work. So this is where my weight is the strongest. Now, the weight of other people, right? They have a similar structure, right? I wake up in the morning, I need to get to work. Maybe someone else is here, so this is their higher weight. But for me, this is my strong weight. And after work, I usually sometimes like to go get some food at this particular restaurant. So I have some weights here. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I think. So if we just go on a little bit about the weights. So when the AI is built, all the weights are set random. And then the weight is formed through this process that we call training. Yes, another good first task I think Mitchell for us. Try to get some renderings on D2S.
Yeah.
But we can still, we've looked at enough code at this point. We can just kind of, this is what it represents, right?
So when you train an AI model, as I said, all the weights are set randomly when it's first done. So as you keep training, you keep modifying the weights on the different the weights in the neural network. And as you modify the weights more, you get closer and closer to a desirable output. And that's how training works. You modifying the weights.
So going back to this analogy about commuting, let's say I'm a company that has all this location data and I want to predict, I want to build a model that predicts the movement patterns of my users. So it'd be like if I keep passing in this data into the machine to say, hey, this particular user will go from here to here, and it just that's the data that keeps showing up. It's like the weight for that will get stronger over time, over the training period.
So I guess now we're getting into what it actually means to be open weight. So an AI model is made up of the architecture, like the blueprint of the network, and then the weights, which are the actual, I guess, like the speed limits in the highway system.
And then why it matters. I like this one. Complete privacy. How's that for a benefit? But then this one's big too. Fine tuning. Right, and that's kind of what I mentioned earlier about like if the traffic's so bad, I need to go this way, and that my weights should change. But excuse me. And maybe this was discussed earlier near the neural network segment, but there's like two kinds of modes that the AI can be in. It's called training mode and inferencing mode. And when we use the AI, it's like when we're chatting with it, it's always in inference mode. But who knows it anymore? Especially with the frontier model, we don't really know what's going on there. So they may have figured out some way to do both inferencing and training, like just turn on the training. The training is the one that really burns a ton of GPUs, right? Inferencing burns GPUs as well, but training is like, it's insane how much GPUs, and that maybe could be a good follow-up knowledge segment is the scale and the difference between how many GPUs are used between inferencing and training. The thing is with training, it's a time thing, right? So even with one GPU, you need a big enough GPU to fit all the weights. But let's say you have a big enough GPU to fit the weights, it's going to take some amount of time. And if you have more GPUs, you can reduce that amount of time. So given how hyper competitive this whole AI situation is, companies with enough money are just like, well, let's just get infinite GPUs and then we could train our models real quick. And that's why AI companies also have to be kind of deliberate and intentional about how often they can training and whether they, it's all kinds of stuff. And that will mark our knowledge segment for today. And now, segment. All right, so what's the deal here? Fun one out.
Yep. That is not the move I was expecting. So I think black should take the pawn. It's either with the rook or the bishop.
I think getting the rook out is good.
Yeah.
It's just a prediction. It's all good.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, wait. Well, I mean, blue fair. I previously voted for this bishop to take this pawn here.
That's true.
But yeah, I guess just looking at a board and trying to figure out the next move is a slightly different skill set than actually playing chess. But it's still skill, I guess. I mean, I saw the board yesterday. Yeah, and for the record, Ethan has the wing wrapped up. For now.
Okay.
So that's that. tic-tac-toe is tic-tac-toe. Maybe win the game, hopefully.
Maybe win the game.
Connect 4 is started over. Well, I guess it ended. The last one. Still gotta fix those cadences on the matches. Checkers. It's Wu's turn, so God, but just move keep him before it's king.
Yep.
There you have it. Bringing our barcade segment to it. Which also brings our brief to a end. I don't have the hockey to get rid of that song. We hope you enjoyed our cast just as we did preparing for it. Catch us for the next one later today at 5. Maybe. As always, we'd love to know what you think. Please leave your comments on the chat. And maybe one day you can also consider supporting us as an. And now,
Let's do base 64.
8. It's base 64 starts at 8. Interesting. And now, you made us out. Let's lock in. It's Friday. We're almost there. Have a great day. I will see you maybe at 5. Bye.